morning, CapeVerdean.net fans, visitors, viewers, students. I guess I call you students, but quite frankly, brothers, sisters, children, we're all related in some way, or you wouldn't be hearing my voice. Today is September the 7th, and it's 5:16 a.m. Compelled to get this information down and create this video, get it on tube as soon as possible, because I believe this should be the end of that deep quest that we went after in history. We know what's going on, and it's time to not only warn people, but to let them know that there's no reason really to fear, especially if your heart is pure, let's say your intent, because that's the deep part. The intent is the life form in which nature has repeatedly brought you to this planet home. I mean, you came here for a reason. Now, I found that these secret societies have all different purposes. And this latest one brought me from the beginning of this known history, competing with Darwin's theory coming from monkeys to extraterrestrial interference with humans, by angels or demons or Anunnaki, Nephilim, fallen angels. And there's a lot of confusion out there. You know, they say there's order out of chaos. At least this is what these Freemason Knights of Columbus and Malta and Templars, and I mean these secret societies. But I do believe they don't really know. Yeah, quite frankly, they've come to a conclusion that they know it's going to happen, but they're not organized, nor do they have the creative ability to tap into that source. This is something that has to be in your DNA, and you have to go back and remember this stuff. And as you go back to remember it, you get closer to your mortality or the end of your life here. And you better have done something in that lifetime so that you can come back or go elsewhere. But know that your seed is available and protected. You can keep an eye on people, you know, keep things going, so to speak, to take care of this planet. Because the caretakers we have now are trying their best to protect us and keep it. And if they're doing it wrong, we wouldn't be having people dying of starvation and diseases that they create, you know. Alright, so if there is a war, cosmic war out there, and these forces are clashing, I guess I'm a part of it. And I don't know what to expect myself, but I believe I'll be here long enough to take care of business. Alright, I love you, and stay tuned to us on CapeVerdean.net or Facebook, Twitter. Gee, you can come and watch it in Providence on TV, channel 18, 5:30 on Thursdays, and at 9 o'clock, no, excuse me, 5 o'clock on Thursdays, and at 9 o'clock on Saturdays. Alright, this is the great-granddaddy of the Barbosa tribe, with the conclusion of what these secret societies have been up to. Love you.
Our most special and honored and valued guest, who is Roland G. Downing. But first I want to say just a few words and welcome everyone to the Whaling Museum. The first observation that I want to make is that we are here in our historic district, which is one of the United States' major historic district from the standpoint of the fight for freedom, as well as the just very first growth of commerce. We are standing in the birthplace of modern America. The advantage we have today is we're in the middle of a holiday week on our way to a school vacation, celebrating Patriots Day with Good Friday yesterday, Holy Saturday today, Passover going on this past week, Easter tomorrow, and then Patriots Day on Monday. And we are lucky enough to have SAR here, Sons of the American Revolution, here celebrating Patriots Day with us today. We also, though, must acknowledge that while we have an opportunity to learn about history today and see, as every school child in our city will over the next several weeks, as this great event is broadcast, as I was telling the President, this great event will be broadcast over and over and over again on our two and perhaps three networks that we have for the city. The school children will see the dramatic uniforms. They'll learn about the Buffalo Soldiers. They'll learn about the American Revolution and our place in it, as we this morning toured just a very few places that New Bedford was involved. So I take this opportunity to thank you very much for coming and sharing this history with us. The other thing that I want to mention very quickly are the sponsors, and I like General Battles indicated, get a morning email from Eddie Johnson. I look at it and I think to myself, where does he get the time to send these emails each day? But he is a source of information and advice. The Parting Ways Project Committee, I want to thank very, very much. Well, Wayne Barboza, your remarks were far more eloquent than I could ever express them, and we appreciate very much you being here with us today. The New Bedford Whaling Museum, again, for donating their staff, their space, and a great museum at our disposal. Good Friday yesterday, Holy Saturday today, Passover going on this past week.
Thank you very much. I've been looking for, well, first, I appreciate the kind introduction of Mayor Lang and President Manning, and also the Director Bringle, and from Parting Ways, Eddie Johnson, and Mr. Barbosa. Ever since I heard that we were going to have a joint effort between the Massachusetts Society, Sons of the American Revolution, and Parting Ways Project, and the City of New Bedford, and the Whaling Museum, it's been an exciting event for me. And the reason for that, normally when I'm giving speeches, it's like singing to the choir, because I'm talking to an SAR, Sons of the American Revolution audience. However, in this case, I have in front of me a motivated general audience, and it's quite a thrill. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here, and I hope you still feel that way in 10 minutes. Later, we have the genealogical requirements to get the organization. We have to prove in third-party documentation that father, son, and so mother, son, and so forth. They might have scrutinized it and found some flaw, cited that flaw. Now, we have studied every historical document we can find through the voices, extensive papers, 93 meetings with readers, and we are unable to learn the root cause of such a short membership period. The point of the law is to try to back in our funds, overturning the election of the Registrar General in 1908, and thereby establishing the patriot Tom Burghardt as a patriot in the American Revolution. The purpose of this special act is to honor patriot Tom Burghardt. Now I would like to introduce to you compatriot Joe Dooley of Fall Church, Virginia. Joe, would you come forward, please? He's the chairman of one of our committees. And Joe, would you please come forward here and take the podium? And would you please tell us about your committee and Tom Burghardt?
Thank you, Roland. I'll get there in a minute. Do we have any accountants in the room? I figured all the accountants would be busy doing somebody's taxes today. The reason I mention accountants is because accountants crunch numbers in such a way that it helps us understand things. Now, according to some sources, over 5,000 black Americans fought in our revolution. 5,000. Now, according to some sources, Washington's army in its aggregate over the 8 years of the revolution was only about 50,000. So what does that mean? That means about 10% of Washington's army was black. 10% of the army that secured American independence was black. I think that at least 10% of the SAR should be black. So in anticipation of Roland becoming President General, I asked him, would you consider, when you become President General, forming a committee to elevate awareness of black, Indian, and women patriots? And I'm very happy to say that Roland did just that, and he named me chairman. Bill Clotworthy, sitting right there, is our vice chairman. I'm happy to tell you that during the time that I've been chairman of this committee, I have sponsored for membership in the SAR 5 black men whose patriot ancestors were also black, and Roland swore them in. Those 5 men and their patriot ancestors of those men, they were black, but they were freed black. The significance of Tom Burghardt is that he was a slave. He was a slave who, as a result of his service in our revolution, secured his freedom. And I think that there's very few things about our revolution that are as profound as a slave being granted his freedom because he fought for all of us. Now, Roland and I conspired on a surprise for Jack Manning and Bill Battles. And I'd like to take this moment to commend both Jack and Bill for breathing such new life into the Massachusetts society and making it one of the most vibrant state societies in the National Society. But Roland just mentioned restoring W.E.B. Du Bois' application, and he asked me to sort of supplement the research of the original application and prepare an enhanced version. So I've got a copy of that here. And our applications require the signatures of 2 sponsors, a first-line sponsor and a second-line sponsor. I'd like Jack Manning and Bill Battles to come forward to sign as the sponsors of W.E.B. Du Bois.
Oh, thank you very much. And you?
What? What?
Joe, Bill. Jack, yeah. I think it's right. I just wanted to read what was on it. Why did you get first sponsor?
He's the president, that's why.
He's always doing this to me.
Mike has it further.
Can't see my name.
Now, don't go away. Neither. The Sons of the American Revolution, when you join, you get this nice little 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that serves as your member certificate. But for a fee, you can buy a special collector member certificate. Well, Roland and I conspired, and we have a special member certificate for W.E.B.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became God. All right, my name is Wayne Barboza, and this is just a few-minute clip, just to give you an idea of what CapeVerdean.net is all about. It's the first of a many series that will be going on for the next 4 years, starting with teaching people how to use the channel of symbolism, because that's what word is. A word will take you from a picture to an understanding. If I say cat, you will see a cat. And if I say cat, calico, you see a calico. If I say Siamese, you see Siamese. If I say dog, you see another picture. So words say pictures, pictures say words. In my speech given back there in 2003, I think it was, the ambassador from Cape Verde, the Republic of Cabo Verde, where I'm from Cape Verde. These are little islands off the coast of West Africa. This is where the slave trade began. Many Portuguese and Cape Verdean cultures think that the Cape Verdean baskets that were produced during the slave trade were just a mixture of Portuguese and Africans. But the truth is, they were selective with their women, and the women were selective with which children would become slaves and which one would be staying home to be taught whatever the father's skill was or whatever the mother's.
Hi, this is Mike in Sweden, and you are now listening to another podcast coming from Sweden. Today I have a guest, and sometimes synchronicity happens. And to me, it's like this. I don't believe that things just happen without there's some type of reason behind it. Today I was scanning YouTube for material for a podcast, and then I found this video and I saw this response by someone, and I got this strange feeling that I needed to contact this person. So I wrote to him, and I thought to myself, you know, either I will get a response or I'm not going to get a response. To my surprise, I got a response. I read the response and I was like, I have to talk to this person. He was kind enough to give me his phone number. He lives in the United States, and I am in Europe. And right now, I have with me Wayne Barboza. Is that how you say your name there, Wayne?
That's fine. Wayne Barboza is good.
Okay. Thank you for joining me for this podcast, Wayne. I think when you wrote to me, it seems like you have an interesting knowledge with you.
Well, I admire your courage for calling me, quite frankly, because, you know, in America, everybody's trying to get that so-called patriot freedom spirit. And, you know, in the confusion, we got the end of the world coming and all kinds of aliens and everything else. I just thought it was important that we do talk.
Yeah. For the listeners, could you introduce yourself a little bit, your background, and what you've been doing up until now?
All right. I know most people have search engines, so they can easily put my name in there. It's W-A-Y-N-E.
YMCA, and they can get the basic dial. But I'm a Cape Verdean American, which means that my family comes from an island off the coast of West Africa. And these islands are actually the tipped up mountains that once existed before this history that we basically accept now. And the survivors are deeply connected to the bloodlines that everybody calls, the Illuminatis and Rothschilds.
Congress shall now vote for approval of H.R. 8791, the Homeland Terrorism Preparedness Bill. Said bill requests emergency response funding up to and including, this section is classified, dollars to prepare for a national level terrorist attack and or attack from classified. Funding for first responder personnel and vehicles would be doubled if said attack leads to more than 80% of national population being affected by classified. This funding shall commence in conjunction with the first attack on classified, or the first large-scale outbreak of classified, dependent upon which comes first. Civilian and military units shall be trained in containment and combat of classified, including irradiated classified, with possibility of classified airborne, classified flesh-eating, classified, and or all of the above in such event as classified spewing, classified escape, are released or otherwise become uncontrollable. Air Force units may also be directed to combat said classified due to their enormous size and otherworldly strength. Should event occur in urban areas, that's classified, far surpassing our darkest nightmares. Should casualties exceed, classified body disposal actions shall be halted and associated resources shall be reallocated to classified underground, classified protected birthing centers. A new Bill of Rights shall be drafted and approved by classified. Having now reviewed the bill, I ask you to please cast your votes.
Even when we walked the world, your kind struggled to understand our existence. We were more advanced in time. Your minds were not yet ready. Still not. Maybe never. No matter. You may not comprehend us, but you will comprehend our warning. You must.
None of what you are saying makes sense.
Our words are not meant for you.
What are you talking about? There's no one else here.
Enough. I do not wish to speak with you, but through you. You are the prophet. You've played your part. You anchor him, but please be silent, that we may commune. Listen. When we were still flesh, our home still whole, your kind betrayed us. We who made you. We who gave you life. We were strong, but you were many, and both of us craved war. So busy were we with earthly concerns, we failed to notice the heavens. And by the time we did, the world burned until naught remained but ash. It should have ended then and there. But we built you in our own image. We built you to survive. And so we did. Few were our numbers, your kind and mine. It took sacrifice, strength, compassion. But we rebuilt. And as life returned to the world, we endeavored to ensure this tragedy would not be repeated. But now we are dying, and time will work against us. Truth turned into myth and legend. What we built, misunderstood. Let my words preserve the message and make a record of our loss. But let my words also bring hope. You must find the other temples, built by those who knew to turn away from war. They worked to protect us, to save us from the fire. If you can find them, if their work can be saved, so too might this world.
No, go ahead, Wayne.
So anyway, I was working on a project in which we were tracing the root cause of this plantation slave type mentality. The deeper we went into the rabbit hole, I found that it was a great dividing line, yin yang, so to speak, of races. And each time I looked into it, it divided more and more and more. Now, from Cape Verde Island,
this is the photograph inside of the human brain. The cells of the brain are magnified to the size, to the equivalent size of a car. The electromagnetic clouds looking in the center. Now, if I didn't have this part up here, what would you think this was? A spaceship. Once again, say it again. You would think that this was a spaceship. But this shit is in the center of your brain. Once again, let's read. The cells of the brain are magnified to the equivalent size of a car. The electromagnetic galaxy-like cloud in the center is the eye of Heru. Horus here. It is inside the brain in a fluid-filled space called the third ventricle. The eye, Heru, is alive and active and floats above the pineal gland and is influenced by melanin and the spirit world, unseen.
What really concerned me was
Nutricides is Layla's Africa's book. But the fact is that this is Nibiru. That's the point.
To find people like
this is what
trying to get the truth out.
For all we can say is what views you have got. Because when the energy comes up from the root chakra up to the seven
ever since I was a child, ever since I was a young boy,
vortexes, or what we call the spiraling of the wheels of light, or what we call chakras, or the seats of light, or whatever you want to call it, energy centers, centers, whatever
but ever since I was a child, I felt that I was having a different view on the world.
You go into your shit.
This is your I always wanted to know. I wanted to dig
this map was already in the beginning of the 16th century, showing part of Europe, of Spain, Portugal, part of Western Africa, and also part of South America. We do not know until now who was able to make such a perfect map already centuries ago, and on the rest of the Piri-Reis map, which we do not show on this picture, you can also see the Antarctic without ice. In 1956, researchers found out that the Earth under the ice mass at the Antarctic is exactly like the Piri-Reis map was showing. So this Piri-Reis map should be at least older than 10 to 12,000 years. But the next question would be, who was able to make such a wonderful world map? On the left side, on top, you see Atlantis, done by Athanasius Walzemüller, and the map is the other way round. He did it the other way round, and you can see the continent between Europe, Africa, and also America. And you can see on the left side down different sides of a huge stone world map. This stone world map was found in 1984 while gold digging in Ecuador in an underground tunnel system with other 350 artifacts which do not really fit any known and existing South American pre-Columbian culture. On this stone map is a natural quartz line, a white one, and this is the front side of the world stone map, and you can see approximately in the Near East, close to Saudi Arabia, you can see an inlay as an eye. And from this eye to the right and to the left is a natural quartz line going on the right side over India, Thailand, and also there's a long island on the right side, which Professor Kimura's research gave him the statement that from the northeast Japanese island until far down after Taiwan, once there existed a huge continent. But then this world map must be older than at least 10 to 12,000 years. And here is the back side, and you can see on the right side coming the quartz line passing in the Atlantic, a continent, Atlantis, which in our days does not exist anymore. Then the white line is crossing part of South America, and Here you have a close-up, and you can exactly see the Bay of Guayaquil, an inlay going up to north, and a round inlay showing exactly the place where there were found those artifacts, and there is also the best quality water worldwide existing. One other very interesting artifact found on the same place in Ecuador is the so-called pyramid with the eye. The eye is an inlay. The stone is gray and white, and you have 13 steps, and it looks exactly like the pyramid with the shining eye on the $1 US. If you put this pyramid under black light, the eye is shining very strongly, and it looks really like an eye, but not real like a human eye. Here you have a close-up of the eye, and you can see the colors of the inlay. On the bottom of this pyramid, you have the inlay in little gold plates showing the Orion star constellation, and you have unknown writing. The translation of Professor Kurt Schildmann, who was the president of the German Linguistic Association, and he was perfect in more than 40 languages. He was able to translate this writing. He called it pre-Sanskrit because it is older than the oldest writing. And the translation of these 4 letters you can see here, his translation is "the Son of the Creator comes."
And another thing is that when you start to talk about YouTube, you know, I've been on YouTube for a long time, and I wanted to kind of find out what are lies and what are the truth. So basically, that's why I made my own channel. Well, there was 2 reasons. One reason was that I wanted to connect with other musicians, but then the researcher in me was like, you know, I got to use this channel to connect with others, and to me it seems like, Wayne, that there's a lot of disinformation in YouTube, a lot of things that are not really making any sense to me somewhere deep down inside of me. So
yeah. You know, I have to respect all the pioneers and so forth that came out, but even Project Camelot and the other original groups, and Bill Cooper and all of them, they will fade just like these soldiers. They will fade away in the confusion, get lost, and so on. The thing that's unique about a hybrid, okay, they don't really fit in either side of the races. You know what I mean? They never was in a race. They're kind of like have to go into a closet and talk about their bloodline because somewhere along the line something happened. You know what I mean? And we used to think it was a dark thing, a bad thing, maybe rape or maybe incest or something like that. So we never talk about it, and the church definitely didn't want nobody talking about it. And most of these island nations, like Cape Verde and the Azores, are very deeply religious, you know. And America, and I would say not just America, I would say the people of the planet right now are very worried under deep stress, and you know, it's not any wonder because this is where they all come from, and I think it's enough stuff out there for us all to agree on that. But if we check the source, in fact, the motto for the Cape Verde Islands when they got their independence, the people were totally lost of their history. They speak Portuguese, and there's some people that speak on particular islands the African and Portuguese dialect, so they know the music, the beats, the vibrations, the stories, the dances have some kind of energy that's necessary to keep the DNA in its proper order. And they eat certain foods that are natural to them and so forth, etc. And I guess if you was to eat good foods, you wouldn't be sick, you know what I mean? And the pharmaceutical companies and doctors, everybody's making money on it, and we know who they are. So there's 2 sides to the camp. But the problem is, we are not going to find it telling different stories. And if we don't have a logical, common sense, and, you know, where you can use deductive reasoning, a little symbolic logic, and come up with some logical answer, some common answer, then 9 it 10 times, it's not the truth. You know the truth when you hear it. It's simple. Things are simple, not hard. The harder it gets, the less you are getting the pure truth. You know what I'm saying? What you're going through.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, good. What you're going through is not unusual. In fact, it's on the video that you saw. You notice that I took a statue that was reminiscent to the ones that were found in South America by the researchers and archaeologists there. They're made out of the same material and fits in a hand the same way, and it's something they estimate anywhere from 15 to 20,000 years old and so forth. But here you've got a picture of an artifact that has the 13-step pyramid with the eyes. Now, there's the topic there. We have an artifact that explains why they do their things in stone, in the prophet stones, and how they were able to create these things that they're finding. And these were all embedded into the DNA. It's into the memory it's in your memory. But to do that, you have to understand all these ancient religions that talk about chakras and life energy forces and cosmic art of war and all that. Well, there's truth to all that, okay? But each person has to take the journey themselves. Once they are aware that there is truth to it, they have to do their own research. They can't just take the belief of one over the other, because that's the dividing line. That's the entity that they cluster up in your brain that say stops us from hearing what we know is true. So Cape Verdean people themselves are just like any other people today. They're full of history books, scholars, and mythology, basically. And whoever the foundation or university that supports it, they make sure that you're going to be indoctrinated, programmed, and so on, get your degrees, or go through the fraternities and Skull and Bones, whatever have you, so they can weed you out from who they're going to use and who they're going to, suppress. And this is from cradle to grave. It starts in school, public schools. So all I'm really, if I was to give a message about anything, if you want to know anything, we could start with history. But go to the root of it. And from that point on, just like yourself, the journey's smooth. The journey's very smooth. You can distinguish the truth from non-truth. And when it comes down to what's going on in the world today, we have to say the United States is a major player. And if you go a little deeper, you'll find that they're all hooked up together anyway, through blood things. And that it's actually these survivors that think that they can rule the world. And they don't realize that there were other survivors. And they knew there were, but they just couldn't find them. They thought they killed them all off. But what happened was when these, say, Portuguese and Spanish, because the first settlement they had outside of Europe was on these islands. They built fortresses, they built citadels, cathedrals, on tiny islands, okay? And it was there where they had brought the Native American on from the East Coast and some of the Caribbeans, which today is the Rastafarian and the Cape Verdeans. They brought the women, the little girls, to the islands to have this hybrid ceremonial satanic ritual to produce, in our image, as they say. And only replicating the story of the Anunnaki Sumerian thing and all the other ancient religions. They're only creating someone in their image so that they can be gods. And because they have knowledge, ancient knowledge, of things such as stones and the grids of the planet, the energies of the planet, and astrological alignments and all that. And because they have that knowledge, anyone who has knowledge has control of those who don't. So the key is to find out for yourself. It's all out there.
Well, it seems like the key is knowledge, like you said, and when you know when you have the knowledge, you also have the key to power over other people. And for me, though, it seems like this thing about secret societies seems to just grow as we move on into the future. And when you were speaking about the hybrid situation, where does this knowledge come from that they wanted to kind of do that?
Well, a lot of people can tube it up, where you'll find videos of recent archaeological finds that civilization tie into dimensional beings, terrestrial beings, and, you know what I mean? Different life forms that seem to live in parallel universes together in some kind of cosmos suit, okay? And I guess, I couldn't say for sure because nobody knows the answers entirely, but from my information, from what I get from this stone, okay, it's coming out now, and she's in labor for the next 9 months. Now, in the 9 months of labor, this is where everybody that's like yourself is searching or trying to find an identity. Some will, we start off as reptilians, let's face it, a little head and a tail, and we start taking form by what we ingest, all right? Now, some of us are going to come out looking like humans, but the brain was more developed into a reptilian type, like David Icke, young guys say. It's more of a cold-blooded, insensitive, with no empathy, type person. And that follows through the DNA, through the generations of the bloodline. Now, that's why they keep their bloodline. You can't marry the prince, you can't marry the queen, you're a common person, all right, and vice versa. And they're indoctrinated from birth, just like we are, all right? And now, with this labor of, because you ever notice the Japanese thing with the radiation and all that? It takes 26,000 years for that to go away, so they say. It also says that there's a 26,000 year cycle in these calendars that end time. Now, that's not a coincidence. You follow what I'm saying?
Well, absolutely, absolutely. One thing that I've been kind of wondering about a little bit is that, and I also found some, well, I call it personally evidence, though, that Mother Earth, like you said, is in labor, but at the same time, there are some forces out there who are helping her using technology to get things going even faster. And my personal, the way I sense is that I'm concerned about the backlash, because when you start to mess around with Mother Nature, she's going to fight back even harder. So when the thing in Japan went down, I was like having this strange feeling that something was totally wrong, that the whole Japan incident is not natural. It's not Mother Earth herself who really is behind that. Something, of course, Japan lays on this fault line, but at the same time, it was just, I just had this strange feeling. And there's no doubt that there's a lot of people waking up right now and wants to know the truth. They're sensing that things are wrong. Things are not going the way it should. It's not being, the natural way is not being followed. It's actually being tampered with. And yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
Go ahead. All right, the natural way is basically where we have to return. Now, everybody's going to say, okay, yeah, this guy got a solution. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in the end, we will all have to return back to her, because there's a balance that has to be maintained when this patriarchal force took over, all right? Because if you're going back to the secret societies, you got to go to Egypt, where they actually put it into a curriculum, and where they actually formed these degrees and orders and so forth that were taught to the Templars and other secret societies. Now, that's baby language. That's actually new on the planet. That's something that these three major religions have ruled over the planet with. The information that was misleading us to where we are today. There has to be a balance. There's two parts to this. There's the feminine energy and there's the masculine energy. We've been ruled by the masculine energy. And this masculine energy has feminized most men especially in America and Europe and so on, to the food processing and the, when you take away the natural things, and your body's not going to be the same. And what it does is basically they're trying to stop the pineal gland from producing the necessary hormones that keep our body and our spirit and mind on its peak performance. The more we eat, a lot of people don't have a choice. They have to eat what the supermarkets have. Yeah. And almost some odd percent of it's going to have aspartame or some other man-made chemical that's been, molecules been manipulated so that they can take that masculine energy out of the picture and dominate through these 12 families or 13 families. And what's happening now, Mother Earth is revealing through these truth seekers, these researchers, these scientists that are looking deeper than history and looking at the evidence rather than the documentation. And they're coming up with not new stuff, but they're confirming what is true. All right? And we can recognize truth.
But it seems like, that a lot of the children that are growing up now are having more and more issues with their health. And, I've been doing some research, and I think it's horrifying, all these shots they are giving kids. As soon as they're out, in this world, they're going to start giving them this and that, and I don't think that really is going to benefit them. I'm not a complete, I'm not really against modern medicine. I think that some of it we need. But the fact that they're giving kids like 20 shots within a certain amount of year, not even that, I think that's going to do something to the DNA. It's going to...
That's the purpose of spraying. That's the purpose of poison in the food. That's the purpose of modification of all of the things that we consume. We're consumers. They're producers. And whatever they produce, we have no choice in, because we have gone away from the earth. We don't own the land no more. We're back to the king and church owning the land, and the emperors owning the land. And we're just taking whatever they give us. And the reason for that is, like I said, the masculine, the balance is off. We're under a patriarchal, a masculine energy that's under these families that they're controlling all that energy by keeping the rest of the babies, the newborns. That's why they go after people in small villages in third world countries. They go after the weakest of them all, let them die off, because they're not getting the poison. They're not getting the stuff that we're getting. Their air's a little fresher and so on. So now they're spraying the whole globe, and you got to come up with a whole bunch of ideas on how we can excuse. And so you got chemtrails and you got aluminum, all that stuff there, and so on, etc. And quite frankly, again, like I said, it's already wired in our DNA to survive this. The choice is up to us. See, the cousin to death is sleep. There's no line in between. There's it's spiritual. It's a third dimensional, if there is, like a black hole, or, you know what I mean? There's no fine line in between, really. When you wake up, right, you know both what sleep is and you know what awake is. That's the third dimension that they're trying to prevent this new birth, or this new people that will come out of whatever they do to this planet. And as far as aliens and other entities and so forth, I don't think that's natural. I really know that they are there, because I've had experiences, and I do that, as you see in the video. I actually participate in militant action when they do their ceremonies and rituals, because I know when it's going to be. I get my people together, we do our ceremony right in plain sight, right in front of them, and they can't perform what they're supposed to perform, and they don't know what to do.
So you have personal experience with entities?
Right. It's fun. Yeah, I bring a camera and a crew, and they just can't do what they normally do to initiate the next group. In the meantime, we go and mark them with stuff that we know, and we use our little artifact. And we have 26 acres of land that we're developing that used to belong to one of the revolutionary soldiers. George Washington had given this land. Well, this land is right on that grid line, you know what I mean? and it was hidden in the woods, and it was unbelievable story behind that. That's the Parting Ways Project, which really started this. But it boils down to, we're going to all have to go back to, first it might be your apartment. You might have to do some topsy-turvy type planning indoors, because we have to start planting seeds, feeding the birds, taking walks in the woods. We have to get back to nature, because what this 9 months is about is a decision. It's whether you're going to be a part of the corpse, or you're going to be, that we're going to build a new world on, part of the corpse, or are you going to, overcome what they call death? Because there is no death where I come from.
Well, I agree. I agree.
I have children. 13 children. And I raised 25 years. I was a single dad. I've been in prisons. I've been, in fact, when I was 17, when everybody was watching the man walk on the moon, I was in a guided missile base in Okinawa, with a top secret clearance. And my school told me I would never amount to nothing. I never went to high school or junior high school.
Interesting.
So you can't, experience is the best teacher. Now I'm a great-granddaddy, with a bunch of grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I'm doing a project that is tied into, in fact, we just collaborated with the Rhode Island National Guard, in which, these guys are not going to shoot on their feet. They ain't going to be like what you see going on on the news. America is got the DNA and the memory banks of patriots, of people that want to be free. And that's what people are trying to emulate before CIA and other entities come in there and make it into a revolution. It's actually, anything you see on TV is promoting with their agenda. It's which you follow, like you followed your, voice in you that got you to contact me. That's the route, that's the direction, and it's natural.
Yeah, it's, when it comes to that, I know that that we have this spiritual war, as I have chosen to call it. That there are two sides, or maybe there are several sides in this battle. Because personally, I've had to deal with that many times. Where, I'll share a briefly incident that happened in my life. Is that I woke up one morning. I was like 3:30 in the morning, where I saw what I considered to be a shadow person in the room. And within just a few seconds, there was this white shadow or white bright light that came into the bedroom and chased this black shadow or shadow person out of the room. So I also think that there's some kind of protection on some of us, and the fact that you are a truth seeker, and I think that that's not something that just happened by accident either. I think that we have chosen to come back into this particular time to be here to serve and to help, because that's what it seems like for me, though. And the battle to really keep going on this path, it's not really easy. I have spoken to a lot of people throughout the years before I even started on this path, and they are afraid of really doing what they feel is right, because fear has gotten a hold of these people. So it's I think it's really important that we connect and start listening to our inner voice. It's there. It's a guidance, and I have actually escaped that for years. I didn't want to listen to it, but I come to the conclusion that I have to make a choice, like you've been talking about. It's all about a choice, and so I understand completely what that means, at least from my perspective, to make a choice.
I had a similar experience, and you'd be surprised how many of us have had that little phantom person, and then the light. Oh yeah, and it's in the childhood. But actually, quite frankly, my theory on that is, I believe that those are our ancestors that are caught in this exoteric web that's around. How you say it? They died before they got to where they were supposed to get, and they're stuck here. Somewhat like the religion say, that the spirits or ghosts or whatever have you, in a dimension that we just can't see all the time. You know what I mean? You catch it maybe out the corner of our eye, or like you said, flash of a moment. that's what's going on there.
Well, I can actually say that from my own experience that seems to be the truth, because when I grew up and I was under this guidance, if you like, by some spirits, and they told me many times that they are here to warn us to not go into the same track or follow the same path as they had done, and but look at the world now. It's almost too late, or we don't have much time left to make the right choice, and that's why I feel right now, it's so important to connect.